What's up, guys? Neil deGrasse Tyson recently made some predictions on what he thinks the world will look like in 2050, and I thought it was quite interesting. And I thought I'd give my go at giving my predictions are for 2050, and yeah, we can use that as like a time capsule and maybe review it in the year 2050 and see how close I was. But first, let's have a look at what Neil deGrasse Tyson is predicting, and we can review his predictions.
250. I have a bunch of predictions here.
Okay, let's hear it.
Neuroscience and our understanding of the human mind will become so advanced that mental illness will be cured, leaving psychologists and psychiatrists without jobs.
Now, I don't know a lot about neuroscience, but I do keep up to date with Neuralink, which is like a brain chip that Elon Musk is, his team's designing. I think they're implementing it into humans sometime next year, I believe. And that's to give people back their eyesight, hopefully, and can function with their, can bring function back to their limbs, I believe. So I'm sure there's a possibility that sort of curing depression and stuff is a possibility, maybe. So here's a little fact. In 2020, the World Health Organization estimated that 264 million people worldwide suffer from depression. So clearly that would impact a lot of people if so that sort of technology can cure depression.
In a shift that echoes the rapid conversion from horses to automobiles in the early 20th century, self-driving electric vehicles will fully replace all cars and trucks on the road. The human space...
Yep, I 100% agree with that. I think the biggest problem will be implementing it worldwide. So by 2050, I think a lot of first world countries will for sure have a lot of autonomous vehicles where you don't even drive the vehicle. It'll just drive for you, and you just watch Netflix or whatever while you're driving your vehicle, or the robots are, I guess. But that's something I 100% agree with by 2050.
Space program will fully transition to a space industry supported not by tax dollars, but by tourism and anything else people dream of doing in space.
Now, this is pretty cool. I hope this is the case. By 2050, you can go to the moon or whatever. Obviously, SpaceX have gone a long way in creating technology that will, make it more affordable each takeoff. So, for sure, a possibility.
We develop a perfect antiviral serum and cure cancer. Medicines will tailor to...
So, cure cancer by 2050. We'll find a cure to cure cancer. Yeah, I'm sure it's a possibility. There is a bunch of different types of cancer, I think. Don't know a lot about it, but I think there currently already is really good treatment for cancer. It's just that I don't think it's very available to everyone because it can be very expensive. I think that's more of the issue when it comes to a lot of medical things. I think the cost is cutting down the cost is the main problem to making it go worldwide, because obviously every country has its own economical background, and some countries might not be able to afford certain treatments to all their civilians, and that's just kind of how it is. And that's more the issue, I think, with implementing medical stuff worldwide is cost, really.
Tailor to your own DNA, leaving no adverse side effects. We will learn how to regrow lost limbs and failing organs, bringing us up to the level of other regenerating animals on Earth, like salamanders, starfish, and lobsters.
Now, I know nothing about where we're currently at with regrowing limbs, but just off the top of my head, I think that isn't going to happen by 2050. That seems crazy, but if that is happening in my lifetime, people are regrowing limbs, that'll be nuts. And I'm sure Neil deGrasse Tyson knows more about all these topics than me, because he would have probably scientist friends. But yeah, I'm going to say no on the regrowing limbs on my prediction, but the rest, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to agree with him all the other points, but the regrowing limbs, no, I'm going to disagree. We'll see who's right when we look back at 2050. Alright guys, I'm going to get into my predictions for the year 2050 now. They're nowhere near as interesting as Neil deGrasse Tyson's, but these are just my predictions, and we can look back at it in 2050. So I think India will have the #1 GDP and the largest urban population in the world. India is already one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and I just think it's going to be the top ranked economy by 2050. I don't have any real hardcore statistics on why I think that. It's just my prediction. I've just read a few things and watched a few YouTube videos on the growth of India and their place in the worldwide economy, and it's just how I think. My next prediction is a little bit more interesting. I think the concept of work in 2050 will change like dramatically. I think just with the rise of things like artificial intelligence, these big gigafactories that can produce immense amounts of products. I don't think it's going to be to the extreme, but I think it's going to the how we perceive work will completely change by then. I think a lot of the entertainment industry is going to become absolutely massive, because as people are losing work, that people are going to be entertained. I don't think by 2050 we're going to see the max of it, but I think going more into the future, work is really going to be fiend out, I think, and people are really going to be spending a lot of their time being entertained, or producing entertainment. So Twitch streamers and YouTubers and actors, and I think entertainment is going to be a massive employer of people, rather than physical labor, service. I think there will still be people doing that stuff, don't get me wrong, but I think it's going to change dramatically. That's my prediction, which isn't really a specific prediction. It's pretty weak, to be honest, but that's what I'm going to stick with. All right, this one's quite interesting also. So I think you'll be able to control your phone and your computer interface, or any sort of interface, with a brain chip in your head. I think this might even happen to 2050, honestly. I think people have the option to be able to get a brain chip, and you'll be able to control your phone and your computer without a mouse and keyboard. I'm an accountant, so I'm working with a mouse and keyboard quite often, and I feel every day how the bandwidth between what I want to do and what I want on the screen, it's quite slow. I have to think of what I want to put on the screen, then I have to type it physically. I have to spell out the words, stuff like that, right? I have to press each key for it to go on the screen, whereas I've already thought of it. So if you could instantly think of what you want to type or what you want to enter into the screen, and it just does it almost instantaneously, that's going to be a massive time saver. I think I would honestly be able to do 85% more work in a day, simply just be able to enter in what I'm thinking straight into the interface. I know this might sound like sci-fi crazy stuff, but I honestly think this is very close to being possible, and I think it's going to be an absolute game changer for everything. I don't know what that means for the gaming industry. If you can think your controls, so if you can, I don't know how to really explain this, but imagine playing Fortnite without your hands, right? And you're controlling your play with your mind. I don't really understand how, the games, the competitive nature of the games would become such a different aspect. If it's your mind and you can just think about certain movements, I think the nature of gaming completely changes. The aspect of gaming completely changes. I might be going too crazy at the moment, but I honestly think that is what will happen, and that is 100% a prediction for 2050, and I think I'm going to be right on that one. My next prediction is kind of a knock-on effect of the improvement of artificial intelligence. I think artificial intelligence will allow us to have personalized medicine. I believe artificial intelligence will allow us to read specific data on individual people, which will allow you to have tailored medicine for individual people, if that makes sense. And that will hopefully worldwide increase people's health. But yeah, that one's quite a stab in the dark, but I believe that's one of my predictions. All right, my last one, I think a lot of people might disagree with, but it's just my opinion. I think the Google search engine will not be used anymore in 2050. I think Google will still exist and they will adopt new technology, but I think the new artificial intelligent chatbots will be the new way people consume data and search the internet in a new way. I think it's going to completely change. I think possibly that Google will adopt this artificial intelligence technology and create maybe their own, or buy another tech company out and adopt their technology. But yeah, go check out something like ChatGPT, and just see the power that it possesses. It is crazy what it has done. I pretty much wrote the whole script to this YouTube video through ChatGPT. Now, I had to give it, some pointers, what I wanted to talk about, what, I even asked for it, like, a few of their predictions. Like, obviously they're not going to be correct because no one can predict the future. But they, like, if you can say that to them, be like, you can say that in the ChatGPT box. You just be like, I know you can't predict the future, but what are some things that I could consider writing in my YouTube video about predicting in 2050? Now, that's quite a detailed thing to ask, an artificial intelligence, but, it did spit out some answers, and then you can play with those answers, and you can create, a full YouTube script, and there's a lot of stuff you can do on there, but I don't think we've even scratched the surface on what artificial intelligence can do. And it's going to be very interesting what even the near future it holds with artificial intelligence. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all my predictions. Not any crazy ones. I couldn't really think. It's really hard to think like really outside the box. Like it's like trying to predict the iPhone 30 years before the iPhone. Like it's just hard to know what technology is even possible, if that makes sense. Like it is very difficult. So you guys write in the comments what you guys predict by 2050 and discuss, and then it's going to be time stamped in there for forever, and then back in 2050 we can watch the video, we can read the comments and see what everyone was saying and how far off we were, because I'm sure there's a lot that's going to happen and we have no idea.